because we demand more and we will get more out of this society because we're going to get ahead, right? That's what's going to happen. We're going to get ahead. Black conservatives get ahead because we don't subscribe to this narrative.
On one hand, we're giving one party our vote because they've successfully gone about the business of convincing our community that the other party, the Republican Party, is completely against the interest of the black community. And as a result, we've been very transparent in our support. We've boarded hook, line, and sinker. We look at the Republican Party. I'm not talking about every single one of us, of course, but vast majority of black Americans look at the Republican Party as the enemy.
How is it that a black person ends up a Republican? Now, there's no simple answer to how I, a black person, ended up a Republican. And I think the question is problematic in the first place. The question assumes that all black people think alike, talk alike, and vote alike, as if black people are some homogenous group.
All lives matter. All lives matter. You would never see me walking down the road with a damn Black Lives Matter sign. If you do, I got a gun to my head. As black men, black Americans. I'm not African American, I'm a black American. I was never born in Africa. Yeah, I'm a proud American. This whole Black Lives Matter, why I can't get down with this organization? Main reason, your whole narrative that police officers are hunting down black men on a daily. Yeah, like it's a purge. That Black Lives Matter organization is just to keep black folks upset because the Democrats want you to vote for the Democrats. Yeah, that's the whole point of this organization is keep black people pissed off. Yeah. So they can keep you enslaved mentally like you need them. Yeah. Because they're supposed to be y'all saviors.
Let's look at something very, very interesting. I think you're going to enjoy this. So let's go there. Let's go there. All right, so now we're taken here to their official site. Then it says here that this AB Charities is a registered charitable organization formed to democratize charitable giving. What party is the party that's blue? Would that be the Democrat Party? Affiliations with the Democratic Party. So folks, when you're giving to the cause, you're giving to the same people, the same party that has caused the problems to begin with. So this is their 2020 PAC summary, their political action committee. So they took in, wow, quite a bit of money. Wow, that is over $1 billion. Let's look at just recipients overall. Biden is not black. Elizabeth Warren is Native American. The money that you think you're giving to the cause goes to this organization that likes to spend their money on Bernie, Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Pete. They're 4 top people. None of them are a person of color.
I've had enough. And that black people need special treatment. And you need to give us handouts and worried about black athletes. Listen, man, as a black man in America, and I've been black for 33 years, I am sick of the pandering. I'm sick of the false equivalence. I'm sick of people painting the picture like I am less than in my own country. This country belongs to me just like anybody else. I have never experienced racism in America. I haven't. That doesn't mean that other people haven't. But I don't have to walk around with my head down, walking around acting like a victim when I haven't had nothing to do with that. And none of the people that I know are racist. I don't know a racist. I've never been around racists. Why do I have to be subject to idea that people are forcing on me just because of the color of my skin? I can give my statements about Black Lives Matter and how ridiculous I believe their organization is. This is America. You have the freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want to say. Why is it that my white friends don't have that same right? If you say all lives matter, which is true, that includes black lives, ladies and gentlemen, you get fired. They fired a guy who's a commentator, fired him because he said all lives matter in a text message. You should be concerned about succeeding, concerned about how you gonna dominate. And I'm telling you that as a black man in America, The reason why I'm winning is because I'm not sitting around worried about white people. I'm not sitting around trying to guess who is racist and who is not. I don't care.
In terms of identity politics, we know what identity politics does. It divides and it polarizes. No matter how you want to look at it, that's just the effect of it, no matter how great the intentions are. And we all know the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So it's an interesting play right here. I don't know how many people really look into the mission statement of Black Lives Matter, but I did. And when you look into it, there's a couple things that jump out to me. And I'm a black man who's been black, and my life has mattered since 1974. And this organization was founded in 2013. I'm proud of you. But I've been fighting this fight for me and for others a lot longer. Two things. My family structure is so vital, important to me. Not only the one I grew up in, but the one I'm trying to create right now. Being a father and a husband, that's my mission in life right now. How do I reconcile that, what I just told you, with this mission statement that says, quote, we dismantle the patriarchal practice. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement. So when I see that, or as a mission statement for Black Lives Matter, it makes me scratch my head. When I also see their mission is to eradicate white supremacy. In 2020, white supremacy is the mission. Woo, that's a lot of digging through minutia right there. I am on a show that I'm hosting along with another black guy who is hosting with me, who replaced another black guy. And that's just one example of it.
But I will be damned if the rest of us upstanding black citizens have to suffer because of this incident that rarely ever happens in America. So here are some numbers for you people that are still believing that police brutality is a real, racially motivated police brutality is a real thing. First and foremost, okay, you have a 25% higher chance as a violent white criminal of dying at the hands of a police officer than you do as a black criminal. Last year, a total of 9 unarmed black men were killed by police officers and 19 white men were killed by police officers. For those of you that aren't good at mathematics, right, you might be thinking, oh, but Candace, white people represent 60% of the population and black people represent just 13% of the population. It doesn't matter what percentage of the population you represent. It matters what percentage of the violent criminal community you represent. And unfortunately, black community commits a disproportionate amount of crimes compared to the white community. Let me tell you, 6% of the population, right? Black men, 6% of the population account for 44% of all murders in this country, according to 2018 statistics. That is what you call a gap. And yet white people who represent 60% of the population, we represent 13, black men are 6%, only represent 50% of all the murders, right? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. A 6-point variation in a community where we are extreme minorities. We commit 50% of all violent offenses, evenly split, and we're only 13% of the population.
This is 2020. The real chief source of your danger as a black person comes from other black people. That's a fact. But we don't want to talk about that. When I say black on black crime, black on black violence, a lot of black folks kind of want to sweep it under the rug. White liberals too, liberals in general, sweep it under the rug, pretend it doesn't exist. But that's the reality. I know people that's dead right now that have been shot, killed by other black folks. I know people in jail right now that have shot and killed other black folks. I don't know anybody that's been shot and killed by a white person. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It does happen, but how often does it really happen? Not very often. Like I've said many times before, black folks, 13% of the population, 48% of all the murder victims, 52% of all murderers in the U.S. Not just 52% of the murderers in one black community, 52% of all murderers in the United States, 48% of all murder victims in the United States. Okay, so we got a serious problem among ourselves that we don't really want to address. We want to point to the lowest hanging fruit, which is the white man and police. Okay.
In fact, if you want to attack a community for accidental slayings or brutality, did you know that doctors accidentally kill 250,000 people every year because of mistakes? Did you know there's been doctors that have been arrested for being serial killers that just were killing people because they wanted to? Do we protest and boycott doctors? Do we assume all doctors are horrible human beings because some doctors are? Or do we realize that society is not perfectible? People suck in every profession. It is no excuse to paint society with a broad brush. It is certainly no excuse to accept a Democrat narrative, okay, that black people are being disproportionately hunted down by police officers because of the color of their skin. You want to know the best way to avoid not being brutalized by a police officer is to limit the amount of encounters you need to have with them, especially when it comes to violent crimes. Okay? I am not going to stand for this continual bottom-feeding narrative.
You might vote Trump and that's fine, but that doesn't mean that you're a conservative. You might still kind of be a Democrat. You might want to vote Democrat if it fits you, and that's okay, that's fine. But let's not conflate everybody together. We're not all the same as far as our ideology. I'm a conservative through and through, not just how I vote, but how I am as a person.
This is my opinion. It's not up for debate because I'm allowed to have my opinion and you're allowed to disagree.